from Thomas Jefferson and John Adams. Now, I didn't know them personally, but I have lived at 401. I have lived 1/3 of the life of our nation since the Declaration of Independence, a little more than that. And I may be the elder of the tribe here. So the advice from Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who disagreed on all kinds of things, but they agreed that when they wrote, all men are created equal and all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The happiness they had in mind was, of course, family happiness, private happiness, vacation happiness, whatever kind of personal happiness. But they said, we, above all, meant the public happiness of governing ourselves and participating in our self-government. It isn't always as easy as the personal happiness in other ways. When you're in a hot room and somebody's talking to you, and when Mo wants not any more words, we have a candidate with the greatest ability to give us the words we need, since Martin Luther King and Abraham Lincoln, and those who wrote the Declaration of Independence, in my humble opinion. She wants volunteers, and therefore I hope she will poke me, or you will sign to me if the fired up quality, if the fires are going down because I'm talking too long. So I will count on Audrey, maybe wasn't just meaning that I was here a number of times when I was Governor Bob Casey's Secretary of Labor and Industry from 86, early 87 until I got appointed to the Senate when a good Republican died. A popular and moderate Republican, John Hines, whose widow later married John Kerry. No Democrat had been elected to the Senate in 29 years in 1991, and I was 47 points in our private poll behind James Carville. Came to national attention because of my race, and he took a private poll, and the public poll showed I was only 44 points behind. Week by week, in the 6 months before the special election, we closed the gap. And one of the reasons we closed it is that I raised the banner of universal health care, health insurance for all, and the victory by 10 points over the United States Attorney General and former Governor Stroudbsburg was attributed in good part to raising that banner of health care. It was, of course, in tatters at the end of the effort, led by the First Lady, which was a great failure, which was not all her fault. She worked hard. She was not able to bring people together. She lost some of the key Democrats early, like key person in charge of the Finance Committee, Senator Moynihan, So you should just keep that in mind. I have great respect and affection for Hillary Clinton, but and it would be a historic thing for either a woman or an African American to be elected. But when she bases her campaign on experience, it's the major experience she had, and it was not successful. She said she's learned from her mistakes. My wife always said that when I said that about my mistakes, she said, "No, you don't. You repeat them." Now, that's the only negative I want. I said I was glad to be back because volunteers, which Mo wants. Who Mo wants? I was at a Quaker camp, Friends Service Committee camp, but Shawnee on the Delaware in 1943 and also in 1942. And in both cases, I was trying to recruit volunteers for an organization called Student Federalists, who were seeking to enlist people who were prepared to be citizens of the world and support a union of democracies to fight and defeat Hitler and be a nucleus of a world organization to keep the peace at age consuming all the writings of Mahatma Gandhi, I was over in India doing the same thing. And when Rosa Parks said no, she wasn't going to move to the back of the bus. And they said, we'll put you in jail if you don't move. And she said, then do it. And she says that she did it because she took this workshop at the Highlander Folk School, like the camp I went to, in some sense, which had a workshop on Gandhi and nonviolent direct action, and she said, I put it in my head that someday I'll do that, and she did, and that's one reason we had Martin Luther King, because if that hadn't started the bus boycott, and he hadn't led the Montgomery bus boycott, we wouldn't have the great messenger of the American dream that we had in him. And I was extraordinarily lucky in those turbulent 60s to having worked closely with Martin Luther King in the 50s after the bus boycott. I to have had the opportunity to serve with, work under King's case, walk with from Selma to Montgomery and other places. The three people that meant the most to me, John and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. It's been a long time since then that I've had a candidate that I feel about, that I do about Barack